Hello there and welcome once again to a brand new episode of Colors of India. We begin this week's episode by taking a quick look at the main stories. Our lead this week is a glossy story. We then move on to Gaudiya and Nritya and finally end it all up with a fabulous food tale. There is nothing boring or plain about glass. In fact, as an artistic medium, it can be both fun and fabulous.
Glass, like paper, is a medium that can behave the way we want it to. This is the thought that Soumya holds on to while she creates magic with glass. Facts state that glass was first made in Mesopotamia during 3500 BC, and since then, this transparent yet alternately colorful medium has been melted and blown by glass artists a million times, taking the world of art to a completely new realm.
I was very fascinated with this colored glass right from my childhood. We used to go during our holidays to our grandparents' house, and they had those colored window panes, and then we used to go to the churches with the school since I was in a convent, and I used to be really fascinated with those windows. And I saw a lot of churches also during my travel. The churches, Vatican Church, and in Rome, in Paris, the Notre Dame Church. Then I just wanted to do something like that.
For Soumya, it was almost an organic shift towards glassware. As she tells me about her voyages and the memorabilia she collected, it becomes clear that her travels have shaped her ideas and art. In her workshop, we see her stories surfacing on the glass as well.
I have been doing a lot of other things like oil painting and so many other things, but finally I came down to glass medium, and I am very happy with it because it's quite flexible, and the nature of the glass allows you to experiment with it. You can cut them, join it, and you can melt it, you can fuse it. Even with liquid glass, you can do sculpture, you can do so much with the medium. It's very flexible.
She starts by drawing an outline of the design layout on the colored glass, which is then cut using a glass cutter. The piece is given finer edges using a glass grinder. A strip of copper foiling is wrapped around the entire piece, which is then placed on the design layout. There, it is first coated with a layer of flux. And then soldered with the lead using the hot iron rod. After it cools down, a layer of patina is added to oxidize the lead, giving it a black outlining. And there we have it, a perfect fairy.
In the initial stages, everybody thought original stained glass is just painting, but that's not it. There's much more to it, and there's no paint involved exactly. So now people are aware of it. So similarly, I think the time has to come and somebody has to come forward and do one project, and I'm sure things will roll on.
From coasters to ashtrays and small murals to tiny fishes, using her small kiln, she makes glass excitingly fun. Her latest addition is the Facebook, Twitter and Angry Birds fused glass pendants. Minutely cut by hand, the small pieces for the pendants are assembled in order of layering. It is then carefully transferred into the kiln where the glass is fused. And voila! They are ready to flaunt. A game of draughts or checkers is also made exciting with fused glass forming the board and the black and red pieces.
Stained glass taken as a business is also very lucrative in the sense people want something different. From all that has been happening till now, people want something different and they want customized things more. So this allows for customization in terms of design, color.
Inspired by Louis Comfort Tiffany and his idea of stained glass, Soumya incorporates the same technique in her Tiffany-style lampshades. Bringing the American ideas to her Indian home, she adorns her living room with these colorful hues. The style requires the artists to focus on minute details, and a single lampshade takes months to make.
As a medium of art, it is a colorful, thrilling and exciting way of working, but then it goes without saying that it is an expensive taste. It's now time for us to go on a quick break. I will see you on the other side in less than a minute. Up next, the sensuous moves of Gaudiya Nritya, followed by a theatre production. Welcome back. On Colors of India this week, we bring you an unseen crown jewel, an honest initiative that brings to this stage Bengal's Gaudiya Nritya.
Gaud was once a thriving dynasty ruled by the great Shashanka. But as the times changed, the kingdom lost many of its traditions in the middle of political turmoil. One of it was Gaudiya Nritya, the classical dance form of West Bengal. Unlike other forms, Gaudiya Nritya vanished quickly, devoid of patronage. But after 30 years of research by Mahua Mukherjee, the art has finally established. On an eve of Guru Purnima, her first batch of students treated the audience with this flavor of Bengal.
The very typical thing about Gaudiya Nritya is it resembles the characters of Bengalis. You see, they are very soft, kind of soft-hearted in nature, but when the independence struggle came in, it was the Bengali who was the first martyr. So same with the dance form, it is together vigorous as well as graceful. Tandava and Lashya are equally blended over in here.
Gaudiya Nritya is a temple dance art done by the Devdasis. Following the similar pattern of a classical repertoire, the dance begins with a salutation to the Almighty, which is then followed by Durga Mangalacharan. Inspired from the Shakta cult of Bengal, here the power of the mighty goddess, her anger and motherly nurture are depicted.
The basic posture we use, we call it Vishaksthānak. The way Kartika sits on Mayura. That is the posture, we call it Vishaksthānak. Our hand movements, all these, you'll see some roundish patterns. Just as the sculptures or the architectures of Bengal, if you go to the mandir temples, you will see that the architecture in the ground, it is square or block form, and as we go up it is roundish in pattern. So in Gaudiya also we find that pattern. When we sit, the Vishak Sthanak is quite squarish, and the hand movements or the upper body movements we do, more or less those are roundish.
All these different ragas which we are already acquainted with, but the application is a bit different. That's what I have found. And also the language is in Sanskrit. Along with Sanskrit, the whole transition from Sanskrit to Bengali, the transitional languages, and then we have the modern day Bengali. So all these kinds of languages are used, and then the percussion part, you would find that khol, that is mridangam, is used mostly.
Gaudiya Nritya is dance where spiritual expression is primary. Its repertoire takes inspiration from our mythology, recreating the divine scenes. Like the piece on Putana Vadh, where the story of little Krishna cleverly killing the demon Putana is presented. The dance in all its flexibility is very dynamic and rounded, as it is a mixture of Chau and Shringar.
They have brought together all the aspects of our spiritual heritage, and the four dancers that we saw on stage, disciples of Dr. Mohua Mukherjee, presenting the Gaudiya Nritya format and bringing together all our elements of Matri Bhav and all our elements of Sri Krishna, Dasavatar, which we have grown up with in such a beautiful manner. It was really a fulfilling experience. I really liked it.
Performing on the poetic padavalis of great padakartas like Jayadeva, Vidyapati and Kalidasa, they presented the Mahajanapada Nritya of Dashavatar. In this presentation, the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu are metaphorically presented, symbolizing the evolution of mankind. With drama, poetry and dance, the newly developing Gaudiya Nritya is already a comprehensive classical art of India.
Recognition and funding are both hard to come by, and for the practitioners of Gaudiya Nritya, the journey has just begun. Now sometimes we yearn for the things that we want and not the things that we need. A theatre production titled Sometimes deals with this same theme.
But very naughty, Dr. Dingra. Report body but tange moti, Dr. Dingra.
The desire to be and achieve more is what makes the generation now sought after newer and daring opportunities. But what they lose out in life are the things and people that are already theirs and matter the most. A serious topic with a tragic end wrapped in witty humor is what the English play Sometimes is all about.
Take notice if something was publicized here.
Exactly.
Directed by Adar Khurana, his troupe has already backed a packed house performance in Mumbai's Prithvi Theatre. Bringing their bundle of laughter to Delhi, these young and talented actors take the real life on stage.
The most heartening thing was that people like parents and stuff are coming to us and saying, that was great. And because somewhere all this stuff is going on and there's not a great relationship with the folks or not, but there's there's a circle of life comes, things come full circle, and there's this moment where he kind of says, I don't know what I was doing, and there's a realization. So I think that appeals a lot to the older people.
I've never had to do some presentations.
Troubled by his parents, his boss,
Cardboard, POS and the works, but first the big idea, the unique marketing shop. So cafes and coffee shops.
and his love life is the protagonist of the play, Paramjeet Duggal, played by the ever-energetic Karan Pandit.
Why don't you just go with the flow, right? When things have to happen, they'll happen.
The play focuses on 3 days of Paramjeet, aka Pammi's life, who apart from having issues with his name, is dealing with a morally high father,
What is this nonsense homosexual talk?
a demanding mother and lover. Unsatisfied in his life, the agitation and frustration causes the protagonist to pounce on a petty issue for which he pays with his life.
A lot of kids our age, my age, try to make a little more of this. Try to make a little more of the importance of all of these menial things which might not really mean that much in the long run, but at the time it really does. And therefore, a lot of their unfulfilled objectives when it comes to all these avenues in their life become bigger issues than they are.
They dealt with everything bravely.
Showing 3 days of life in an hour was a task which was dealt with brilliant planning and stage setting.
Chapters knows well these shenanigans. What is it, malaria? No, sir, I told you. You got into some trouble.
In a circular setting with a round table at the center and 12 seats around it, the 3 days were marked with this clock setting. Using red light and ticking sound of a clock, the movement around the day were made evident and easy to understand. Taking the play to a metaphorical level, the protagonist, when alive, is shown acting inside the clock stage setting. This changes after the tragic demise, where the soul of the protagonist is shown to move freely anywhere.
There too I wasn't invested.
Try to play it as real as possible, and this happens to many families. Like when you watch the play and when you listen to the mother and the father talking to their son, if you're a mother, then you'll say, I've said that to my child. And if you're a teenager or a child, like, oh yeah, my mom said this to me, or my father has said this to me.
It's a pun.
Humor acts in many ways, like in here, where the realization of the death of the protagonist is eased by the previous scenes of laughter.
To B, to C, just stay C.
Using humor wisely, the play gave a strong message, leaving the audience numb and teary by the end.
Cash on delivery, that way you gain their trust.
Using a very minimalistic setting, the theatre group was able to convey the time-lapse drama in a very gripping manner. Well, it's time now for us to go on another short break. I will see you in less than a minute. On Food Trail this week, I sample Indian and international cuisine. Welcome back. On Food Trail this week, I have decided to take it a little slow. Relax in a cafe setting, enjoy the monsoon magic and taste wonderful world cuisine. Blue Cafe is on the outer circle in Connaught Place. A standalone space that blends the relaxed note of a cafe with that of fine dining. The monsoons might have ditched Delhi, but monsoon magic is in full swing at Blue's Cafe. Umbrellas add a splash of color to the black and bronze interiors, and even those waiting at the tables are sporting raincoats.
We wanted people to come to Blue's Cafe for a nice, noisy place and could enjoy fine dining along with continental food. And we proposed to have a lot of international tourists coming to our place who are very frequently coming. And the reason we started the Monsoon Festival, it's an ongoing process what Cafe Blues plans to do in future also. Every month we would come out with some food festival, and monsoon is as the monsoons are coming in, So it's attraction to tourists.
The menu at Blues Cafe is a mix of Desi favorites and international specialties. Mexico's signature dish quesadilla finds its way here. With a portion of rice, baked American corn, kidney beans and stuffed tortillas and vegetables, it's a meal by itself. A mushroom and bell pepper version of the 19th century Russian dish, the stroganoff, is also on the menu. The Brits added the rice and the creamy white gravy, and that's what you'll find here. French onion soup has been around since the ancient times, and it went through a revival in the early 19th century when French cooking found many takers. Here, chicken stock is slow cooked along with caramelized onions and served as broth along with a perfectly poached egg. Very rarely in Delhi do you come across this soup, French onion soup, which is a classic recipe. It is a very pleasant soup, and I absolutely loved the intensity of the flavors of the caramelized onions, the pepper, and the faint hint of the egg and cheese. Lovely. Cheese-baked nachos make a perfect starter. Layering the chip with cheese ensures that every chip has molten goodness on it. Mexico's nachos, the quintessential ballpark food, got an awesome new twist. Warning: this is a giant-sized portion. Best be hungry while ordering. Everything about this dish is just perfect. There's the crunchy nachos, the soft melted cheese, kidney beans buried somewhere deep inside, and all together with the different textures and colors and qualities, this dish, like I said earlier, is perfect. Now, I did mention that the menu at Blues Cafe is a mix of Indian and international favorites, and one of the most popular dish on this menu is the jumbo tandoori platter. If size matters to you, this is your thing. Jumbo prawns, chicken legs, meat pieces, sheikh kebabs and more. The staple diet of this city, chicken tikka, is absolutely served. But I have had enough of those, so I just asked for a sumptuously moist, flavored and tender chicken steak with a light, creamy pepper sauce, side of mixed vegetables and a garlicky, buttery jacket potato. The pepper chicken steak is just cooked to perfection, and then there is this creamy thick sauce on top, which is not a barbecue sauce, but it's just perfectly made with a lot of mushrooms and sauce and well-cooked chicken. I really like this one. A meal this size also merits a dessert portion that is just as extravagant, and that is how Monica's profile comes into the picture. A rather naughty name for a sinful dessert of hot chocolate fudge with ice cream. At the end of a really heavy meal, you could ask for something just as heavy like this one here. Hot chocolate and vanilla ice cream, but how can you say no to something as sinful as this and something as heavenly as this? So let me get back to my dessert here. I will see you next week on the same show. Goodbye, take good care, and remember to write to us through our Facebook page. Once again, goodbye.